private sector in the last at least 2 or 3 decades have been steadily coming into defense production, and I encourage them because they have shown immense agility and the nimbleness with which they have adapted to this sector, which is till now remained opaque, is amazing. In fact, it surprises me that Indian industry, which is normally very cautious, has actually identified the opportunity which exists in this area and had been very clear in the way they have maneuvered themselves into slotting themselves in defense manufacturing, be it for the naval purposes or for the purpose of Air Force, and the extent to which they have come forward has placed some of these private sector units as a tier 1 company. Today, they are not just producing components, but they are certainly producing large platforms with almost 30 to 40% indigenized outsourced materials. In fact, today I can say by the year 2017, 16-17 financial year, the outsourced component of a production value of any unit which is manufacturing in India, the production value, if you take it 100, 30 are outsourced within India. That itself is a big difference, because that means that the tier 1 companies which have now positioned themselves as a global platform manufacturing, capable of platforms and manufacturing such vectors which are very, very important for us, are today not just doing it all on their own for the sake of cost effectiveness and competitiveness, and in order to see that the spread of value chain is nice and widely done. A lot of, at absolutely 30% level, outsourcing is happening. And this is very important, especially when your value chains will have to be sustained, competitive, and spread across, so that you don't face the risks of, want of supplies. So that being the way in which the ecosystem has come to be built in India, the government rightly thought, and I will put on my record the appreciation for the Prime Minister's readiness to say, yes, this is the right time to push ahead with announcing defense production corridors. And when we say defense production corridors, we are not trying to transplant something which does not have the ecosystem into an area where it may not just take off. Enough work was done by the Ministry of Defense in locating areas where not just the presence of public sector undertaking or the OFBs existed, but we also identified areas where private sector, small, medium industries, and also some of them big enough, have on their own in the last 20, 30 years started manufacturing components for OEMs abroad to whom they were supplying and made significant contribution to our export. Such unit existed in certain areas and we mapped them. And post-mapping, it was completely justified that the corridors be announced where the Prime Minister has chosen to announce. The one which was announced earlier was in that stretch between Chennai to Bangalore, where you had the advantage of the naval units, tier 1 units, private and public, tanks and ammunition based units, private and public again, and for Air Force, public, less of private, but components being produced for the public sector, all existed, all as though they were just waiting for the government to recognize them and give them that additional push. And therefore, between Chennai to Bangalore, passing via a stretch of ordnance factories and defense public sector undertakings, passing through Tiruchi, passing through Coimbatore, where of course, incidentally, we have also announced an innovation hub, not so much with the universities, which I'm not against, but here was a small and medium industries association, which was ready to take the challenge of bringing startups and small and medium industries to innovate for serving defense production.